And now to dive a little deeper into the United Auto Workers strike and the looming possibility of a government shutdown, we bring in Scripps political correspondent Joe St. George, who is live from Michigan right now. And Joe, with all the strikes we've seen nationwide recently, I think of the Hollywood writers' strike now coming to an end after 4+ months. But of course, we never saw any political figures getting involved with them. So why do President Biden and former President Trump feel it's so important to join United Auto Workers in their strike?
Two words, the 2024 election. This is a swing state, Matt. Michigan is a place that could very well decide it come next November, and the UAW auto workers are a powerful voting bloc here. You know, for years it was a voting bloc that Democrats could rely on, a key constituency. The UAW leadership has typically endorsed Democratic politicians. They endorsed President Biden 4 years ago. They have not endorsed anybody in the 2024 race so far. But what we've seen through exit polling, just by talking with auto workers, is that many of the rank-and-file auto workers, not necessarily the UAW leadership, but the rank-and-file auto workers, they've become attracted to the politics of former President Trump in recent years. In 2016, former President Trump only lost union households by 8 percentage points. He did worse in 2020, losing it by 16 percentage points. If he can close that gap, remember, he won the 2016 election. He did not win the 2020 election. By closing that gap with rank-and-file union voters like auto workers, that may propel him to victory in a place like Michigan come 2024. President Biden obviously recognizing that he needs to stand by these auto workers during what they are calling one of their most significant strikes in history, going against all three of the major automakers at the exact same time. As far as the economics of all of this, Matt, there's certainly a lot of politics here, but the economics of it, so far, according to Deutsche Bank, there's been 16,000 fewer vehicles made as a direct result of this strike. That number will only go up the longer the strike goes on. A loss of economic output in this country of close to $2 billion. And by the way, only 18,000 UAW workers are actually striking nationwide. There's a chance that more and more auto workers could strike if the UAW doesn't feel their demands are being met. There's over 140,000 auto workers nationwide right now.
Well, staggering numbers all around there, Joe. Now, to switch things up a bit, though, last week we talked about a potential government shutdown. And, Joe, it appears the chances of that happening now are even higher as we are approaching that deadline. So who will be impacted if this shutdown does go through?
Yeah, we have strikes. We now have the possibility of a shutdown, and it's a real serious threat. There are some times in which, political reporters will talk about the threat of a shutdown, even though there really isn't a threat of a shutdown. In this case, there really is a threat of the shutdown, with huge ramifications for the military and federal workers. They're the ones who would immediately see an impact. They wouldn't get their paycheck. Now, a short shutdown, minimal impacts, right? Couple days doesn't mean much, but if you're talking about a long-term potential shutdown, the last shutdown we had in this country lasted 35 days. All of a sudden, you're talking about millions of Americans, including active duty military, who aren't receiving a paycheck. That has ramifications throughout the economy. National parks in the Mountain West, that is something that can be impacted. Services certainly can be impacted as well in the event of a shutdown. So we'll keep an eye on this. As you've been reporting, Matt, all morning, the House and Senate really are divided on a path forward. Republicans in the House are divided on a path forward. This may come down to the 11th hour. Federal government funding runs out Saturday night.
All right, Joe. Well, joining me today to talk all about our nation's strike and shutdown related issues has been Scripps political correspondent Joe St. George. As always, thanks for the info, Joe. And of course, you can always find the latest on all of those on IdahoNews6.com.